What's up, everyone? Hellcom Skate. How's everyone doing this fine morning? It is morning. All right, so no news, no news for me right now. I'm gonna do some drawing and actually see how long I can be on it. How long I'm gonna stay on here. We'll see how long I can do the stream. And in the meantime, do some drawing, talk a little bit. Just having some overall good fun. Because that's what this channel is all about, right? It's all about fun. And now it's. Alright, so on the last stream, I dropped in, but on that stream I was already drawing something else. So I'm gonna draw the thing that was requested. I'm gonna draw a drawing mark. Just kind of give me a second. Right, so we're gonna just be blue pencil and get started. Gable is here, and now the party can actually start. And I would like to thank Gable for suggesting to do these these YouTube songs, well, YouTube streaming free songs. This is actually a lot. Yes, we are going to continue John the Greek Gods, but yesterday, no, it was the day before. The day before, I was asked to, as I was drawing Zeus, which, if you all haven't seen, there's Zeus right there. Still not done. I gotta fix that. I think I might turn this into a print. Do another one too. Another one of Zeus. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. So, on that same screen, I was asked to do a drawing for this book I'm working on. I'm helping with called Last Days of Bad Moon. And the writer has asked me to draw the character, but since I was already drawing Zeus, that day it wasn't really in the cards. I already had Zeus planned. So today, I'm drawing the character with the draw, and then I'll go back to drawing the god. I'm here to have everyone streaming ability. Thank you. Great Zeus makes me want a Greek god-inspired comic from you. Actually, in Crimson Legends, I am going into the Greek mythology. It's probably gonna take a little bit of time to get in there. But I'll get there. my choice for the next Greek god is Hephaestus or Hephaestus. I know who you're talking about because I think in the myth, I think for in his story, he made the lightning bolts for Zeus. He he made his lightning bolt, and not just that, but also other weapons for the gods. Correct me if I'm wrong. Actually, instead of that point of view, let's do it this way. Yeah, the Disney version of him made bolts for Zeus. I can't quite remember if the actual version. No. I know he made stuff for the gods. Uh, he was also kind of the because I think for a time I forgot who his mother was because for, for the time he was kind of like the I think he was like the unwanted child, and he held one of the gods hostage until he got what he wanted. But I'm gonna have to do like a refresher course to make sure that's right. Let me see if I can get a picture. All right, let's see. Right. Uh, Epitheus had his own palace on Olympus, containing his workshop with anvil and 20 fellows that worked as bidding. He crafted much of the magnificent equipment of the gods. In almost any finely wrought metalwork, imbued with the powers that appears in Greek myth, is said to have been forged by by Hephaestus. He designed Hermes' winged helmet and sandals. The the uh, the Aegis breastplate and Afro. Sorry if I'm butchering these names. I know I am. And yeah, uh, Aphrodite's famed girdle. So yeah, he made weapons. So he made stuff for the gods, and he's the son of Zeus and Hera, or Hera alone. So either Hera had him alone, or it was Zeus and Hera. And obviously, he had many siblings, just as any other god. So yeah, in one branch of Greek mythology, Hera ejected Hephaestus from the heavens because he's uh, congenital impairment. He fell into the ocean and was raised by Thetis, mother of Achilles, and one of the 50 Nereids. Well, but yeah, so I was right that he was rejected. All right, back to this. But yeah, ultimately, they kind of brought him back and made him a kind of a forge god, because everything he made was for was literally for the gods, and each one of them each one of them had like a specific thing to him. Yeah, after I get done drawing this, I'll go back to drawing the Greek gods. Reason why I thought I do drawings of the Greek of the gods is because actually I thought it would be a pretty cool idea. And since there will be to a point where Crystal Legends is gonna probably most likely come across any one of these gods, it's good practice too. So yeah, it'll be good practice draw, drawing drawing these gods along with gods in other mythologies, like the Egyptian gods or or the Norse gods. So, can you all hear the music all right, or do I need to fix something? No, all right. Let's see. So right here will be and this. And Doc Blaylock is in the chat. Hey Doc, I sent you a invitation in your in your Twitter message thing. All right. Let's pause this for a minute. And everyone, please give a round of applause to Doc Blaylock.
Good morning. Good morning.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing all right.
Hail, Gabe. Good morning to you, sir. What are you drawing here, Stephen?
I'm drawing Joan of Arc.
Joan of Arc is not a Greek god.
I know. Billy wanted me to draw Joan of Arc on the last stream I did, but since I was already drawing Zeus,
Right.
I said I'll draw Joan of Arc next time. Well, it's next time.
Marvel kind of started this thing with Zeus having a red beard and red hair. I don't really think that's accurate to the original.
I always thought
he would
I
have
always
black
thought that he
curly,
had. I'm sorry.
he would have black curly hair. He would look more like Leonidas from 300. He was Greek,
Yeah.
I would think. Now, if I'm wrong, well, then I'm just wrong.
Well, Disney. They also had Zeus with red hair.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
I don't think I ever watched that Hercules cartoon.
Here, let me pull it up. No, actually, I probably shouldn't because it's Disney.
Yeah, we'll just leave Disney alone. They're losing enough money. They're hemorrhaging money. Hemorrhaging money. Go woke, go broke.
And they're doing both right now.
Yep. I don't know how many times it'll take for that message to get through to the corporate world, or perhaps it will take eliminating ESG qualifications for the exemptions to the fiduciary duty of CEOs to make money. But eventually, they got to get the message.
Well, I think it's probably already known that Marvel, because they're owned by Disney, they don't have to worry about much stuff.
I don't know, man.
But
Disney's like bleeding out in the gutter.
that's also true.
So if I was Marvel, I don't know. If I was Marvel, I'd be looking at a way to get out of there. If I was Kevin Feige, I would retire. Just step away. Go enjoy your money. Step away. Yeah. You did some good things, and then you did some bad things. But as Mark Antony said at Julius Caesar's eulogy, the evil that men do lives after them. The good is often interred with the bones, or interred with the bones.
Huh. I never heard of that before.
Yeah. I discovered Shakespeare because of Iron Maiden. They had a song called The Evil That Men Do. And my literature teacher heard me listening to it. And she said, that's a quote from Shakespeare. So I went and read Julius Caesar, and I liked it. This guy can write. Like Shakespeare needed my approval.
Well, Shakespeare made all the wonderful plays that we all still perform today.
Well, sure.
Everyone who's ever run a play wants to be like him.
Well,
you can never really be like him because he was him.
Right.
You had to be like you.
But he was he was just waiting for my approval way back in the 9th grade. Or whatever the hell grade I was in. I don't even remember. Wait, No, that had to be at least 10th grade because I was at a different school. Whatever. Shakespeare needed my approval is the point, Stephen.
So right now I'm kind of drawing and designing Joan of Arc for Billy Carmack's book, Last Days of Bad Moon.
I see that. I like the design so far.
He wanted the design for Joan of Arc to have the essence of Joan of Arc, but more scantily. I think.
More what?
Scantily.
I didn't understand what you said. More what?
Scantily.
Oh, sexier.
Yeah.
Well, you know.
So.
No idea what Joan of Arc looked like. She could have been, she could have been dog ugly, or she could have been friggin' Jennifer Aniston. We don't know. She could look like Herschel Walker. We don't know.
Yeah. Here's one of the pages. Here's one of the pages that I am still working on.
Oh, cool. I like it.
So I'm taking a small break from Rev to get this book up to snuff.
Right on. Freaking dog hair on my keyboard. When was my dog in my studio? Is what I want to know. He's not allowed in here.
The dog hair could have been on your shirt or something.
So you're saying I transplanted it myself?
Probably.
That's a plausible theory, Stephen.
Or your dog could be could probably have its own Twitter account. Is probably tweet stuff.
Sneaking here at night and logging in.
So I understand that Joan of Arc is a paladin, which means, all right. So for anyone who doesn't know what a paladin is, and I roughly know what a paladin is, it's a knight of religion,
like a Knight Templar.
Yeah.
A holy order.
Which, again, correct me if I'm wrong on that.
They fight for God.
They fight for the kingdom.
Or the church.
Yeah.
Which is not always the same thing, by the way.
Which, honestly, alright, so I'm not sure if this is history. But, alright, so you know who the Templars are, right?
Yep.
Alright, well, it turns out the Templars also act as kind of bankers.
This is true.
And one king, he technically took out a loan with the Templars.
Yep.
And not wanting to pay, and realizing that the king was in debt, and not wanting to pay it back, the king decided to have all the Templars hunted down and killed.
Yep. True story.
And I think that was a documentary I saw. Yeah, when I saw that, I was like, first like, that king is a scummy asshole.
Well, I mean, think about it for a minute. That's the ultimate debt forgiveness, isn't it?
What?
That's the ultimate debt forgiveness. I don't want to pay this loan back. I'll just go destroy the bank. It's good to be the king.
Oh.
That's a hell of a way to do business.
Like, oh wait, I got debt? No, sorry, I'm gonna put you to death later.
Yeah, there was a TV series about the Knights Templar. I forget the name of it, but I started to watch it, and it was kind of okay. But then for some reason, I never got back to it, and I can't even remember the name of it. Basically, the Queen of France was throwing a shot of leg to the leader of the Knights Templar. So you had a uncomfortable love triangle going on there.
All right, I'm gonna pause there for a minute. Pause the music and do some chilling real quick.
Chill time.
All right, so for anyone who has not know what Crypts and Legends is, but what is Crypts and Legends? What is it? It's a campaign. It's a campaign on Fund My Comic, and it needs help. We are at 63 days left, and we have been stagnant for about a month. So if you are interested, or if you know a friend that is interested, let them know about Fund My Comic and tell them to go back Crypts and Legends, the Second Chance campaign.
Yes.
Which if you don't want to pay the $15 and plus shipping, then you can pay the $6 and get the PDFs. And if you want any of my screw ups,
The blooper
the blooper book, the Second Chance the second book is available, and there's 23 copies.
I love it. I love that.
And also, if you want my also the posters are available as well. I also have a surplus of that. And don't forget, the physicals are in foil.
Mm-hmm.
So when you put if you put them on a frame and have light shine on them, they will shine as bright as the sun. Well, probably not as bright as the sun, but you know what I mean.
You'll need sunglasses, my friend.
And if you want all that in one go, you just pay the $70 plus shipping, and get all that plus all the training cards and the new training cards. They're probably going to be only available on this campaign. And also, don't forget that I'm selling the the original pages of this book, and I'm selling the two covers, so you can have something on your wall. And now that is done, let's play the trailer real quick. You ready for this?
Do it. Blow it up. Invigorate.
You know, I'm surprised. I didn't think I would make a good trailer.
You did what?
I'm surprised. I'm kind of surprised. I didn't think I would make a good trailer.
You
But
did a good job. It's a good
yeah.
trailer. I think now keep in mind, I'm not a hypocrite here because I'm owning mine. My trailer was like 1 minute 45 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
And that was more so just because I wanted the music that I wanted, you know?
Yeah.
But I think the ideal trailer should be between 30 and 45 seconds. Like the attention span of a gnat is what the general population has these days. So you should be able to just hit it, get it out there, move on.
Yeah.
So for my next book,
It also depends on what you put in the trailer and how long you're gonna have it. Like you want those key points. Like all right, so your book is Blood and Mud.
mm-hmm.
Your key points is the witch and the swamp monster or the golem,
Mm-hmm.
and those are the two things that you definitely want to capitalize on.
Yeah. The goal is though to fully engage with the casual viewer, to capture their imagination enough to get them to go look. And let's just face it, you know, a trailer that's too long with today's attention span, you're just going to lose them. Gabe says less than a minute is ideal, but just like movies and shows, the pacing of the trailer matters a lot. I've seen 30-second trailers that I want to count. Yeah, that he wants to gouge his eyes out. I agree. And don't tell me the whole story.
Yeah.
In a 2-minute trailer. I don't need that. You know, it's an appetizer. It's not, you're not trying to feed.
The trailer is designed to get you pumped up and wondering.
Exactly. Make you want to go investigate. Check into it. See what this is all about.
That's right.
Hey, Apex. Good morning, my friend.
Hey, Shadowhawk.
Hey, Shadowhawk. Good morning, buddy.
And there's Apex.
Apex is a publisher. Let's ask him.
All right. You know what?
How long?
I'll send him an invite too.
How long is the ideal trailer for a
Actually, you know what? I'll just drop it in here.
There you go.
All right, Apex. Pop in if you want to.
I think Gabe should get in here. Gabe has a amazing broadcasting,
And I need to refill my bottle.
and
So
he's an insightful individual.
all right, so I need to go refill my tea. So I'll be right back. In the meantime,
I got you. Oh, he embiggenated me. Nobody wants to see that.
Well, fine, I'll minimize you then.
No, go get your tea.
All right.
I personally am having coffee and Sprite. Why Sprite, you say? I don't know. You know, I looked in the fridge for a Dr. Pepper. There were none. There were Sprite. So I'm having a Sprite with my coffee. By the way, my buddy Rex, he puts lemon or lime in his coffee, right? I don't understand this. Because drinking Sprite alongside my coffee, they clash. They don't go well together, is what I'm saying. Rex, if you're watching, you damn dirty ape. Get your stinking paws off me, you damn dirty ape. Yeah, man. Great line. The embiggenator. How long is the ideal comic book trailer? Apex, Shadowhawk. Gabe has already chimed in a little. He said no more than a minute, and I agree. I think 40 seconds is right there in the sweet spot. That's me personally. I'm gonna shoot for a 30-second trailer on my next project. Mindful that 30 seconds when you're editing, you can use that up quick. 30 seconds to a minute, says Shadowhawk. I agree. So somewhere around that 40, 45 seconds, yeah, I think is probably the ideal. If you go longer than that, I think you're droning on too much. Because I know I did. My trailer is too long for Pariah Blood and Mud. All right. But again, mine was vanity, man. I just wanted the music that I wanted.
Yeah. Well, the only music I have access, actually, the only music I have access to is what YouTube can provide.
Well, you just let me know when you need music, sir. I'm a musician. My son's a musician. We have a studio. I know hundreds of musicians.
And everyone, please put your hands together for Gable.
Hello.
Gabe, good morning. Let me
a round of applause for me. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Let me adjust my baritone to try to match the suaveness that is Gabe.
I mean, I could talk louder, or higher pitch if need be. No, so the whole trailer discussion, and the only reason I say this is because, like, imagine anybody, like even yourself, you're watching, you're sitting down, maybe you're watching commercials or whatever, and like, what makes a good commercial? I mean, you guys got to remember these trailers are commercials basically.
Yes.
And the pacing is so important. I mean, you have a limited amount of time to convey, hey, this product A exists, and B, you should buy it.
Yes.
And people tend to forget. And I know a lot of people, they'll do like a slideshow, but they won't tell any story elements. I know I want to know the story. That's for me. Like I'm a comic book reader. I actually do like the stories. I probably more than the art a lot of times for me. But again, I mean, different strokes for different folks, obviously.
True. Yeah. I agree.
So like if you're going to show me art, which you should because it's a comic book, I want to know the setup. I want to know the pitch. I want to see a little bit of excitement. And if you do a voiceover, I want to see that excitement in your voiceover. Like it has to be there, because if it's not, then it's just a 30-second whatever. And at that point, like if someone checks out, you're not making that sale.
All right, so like here's the thing too. Back here in my studio on my computer, I run ad blocker, so I can watch on YouTube whatever the hell I want to watch.
Yep.
When I go into the den and I turn on the widescreen and I'm watching something on YouTube, they're going to run commercials. I will never allow the 15-second commercial to play. I back out and come back in, and eventually it'll give you a little 6-second one. Why? Because I think them taking 15 seconds of my time is obnoxious to try to sell me a product I'm not interested in.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And if you're doing a stream,
15 seconds.
Yeah, I know it's crazy. Like I said, or you mentioned it earlier, like the attention span of the average viewer is very low.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you guys have a benefit though, because I mean, you guys are streaming to comic fans. Like these are people who are interested in books. Now, they may not back every book because obviously that's a lot of money. Like everybody has a limited amount of funds. So why should I back your book over somebody else's? That's where it's like, all right, that's where you have to, up the excitement. You have to up the ability to convey your book is better.
Why I should get your $12 instead of somebody else.
Yeah, and I know that's a weird way to say, because I know the pot isn't limited. I know that's a common saying around here where it's like, oh, well, the money's not limited. It's a bunch of money, that could be spread out. But people do have budgets, and we're working on a smaller sphere here in this community. I mean, we're not a CG King. Our pool of viewers is smaller. Right. So you need to maximize the ability to keep their attention, and that people do that through live streams.
Yes.
And you need to pitch your book. You guys got to get really good at pitching your own book.
Yes.
Yeah. The things that the CG Kings could do, we can't really do. So we would have to get creative.
Yeah.
For what we have.
To your point, Stephen. We're at the point where they couldn't do it consistently, but Ethan could just come out and say, "Hey, I got a new book coming out on Indiegogo. Go check it out."
Yeah,
that's all he'd have to say.
Yeah. That's all he has to say. But for
not us.
For us, we have to do something to get you interested and to get you pumped for it.
That's why. For my next trailer, Gabe, I'm just going to pose topless.
There you go. I mean, people will talk about hey, any news is good news. And if they're like, hey, Doc is topless in his next trailer, people will be like, do we play it? I don't know, but I think we should try.
Yeah.
The other
or I will pose fully nude.
There you go. Threaten them. Yeah.
That's it.
No, the other thing I want to talk about a little bit is, I know a lot of you guys are on the same channels all the time, and you guys are, pitching your books on each other's channels, which is good. I think the more you pitch, the easier it gets for everybody. But don't be afraid to venture outside your bubble. Like I do see this a lot, where it's like I see the same creators on every person's stream, which is great. I mean, it's good for a close-knit community, but don't be afraid to go outside your bubble.
Correct.
And that's a potential to get customers. Now they might not necessarily be comic book readers, but if they enjoy you on a live stream, it is essentially merch, right? I mean, that's what in this world this comic books are. If you become personable, if you're you tell good stories or whatever, generally if you're just a nice person, a lot of people will want to back you, and they will want to support you.
They will go look.
Yeah,
I know this.
Even as something as little as a retweet, like, hey, this book looks good. Not for me, but it looks good. Let me go ahead and retweet it out. You never know where potential customers can lay. So
I went on to a show on a channel. I'm not going to say the name of it because it'll sound like I'm disparaging it, but I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
Small channel, smaller than mine, and mine is T90.
Mm.
And guy said, you want to come on? And I'd like to have you as a guest. Yes, I will do that. I would love to.
Yeah, definitely.
I happen to like the guy. I picked up 3 backers.
Yeah.
Off of his 12 views.
I would say it's all about being personable. I know there's a lot of people want to argue and fight and all this kind of stuff, but really, I mean, if you're just a good person and you're excited about the things that you create and you have the ability to convey that feeling in others, I mean, you'll grind out an existence. I know that sounds bad, but you will grind it out and you will get more people to view you. And Apex made a good comment. He says, we have a growing YouTube community here in CG. And it's true. Like the size of CG, I know people have said it's stagnating, but I mean, I still see I see an influx of new people every day, even on smaller channels, like just random people popping up. And it's interesting that I see that, because if it's shrinking, like it doesn't make sense why someone would just, sporadically, stumble across a stream with 12 people. It just doesn't, to me, it doesn't really make sense. So I think the community is there. I think we have a broad sense of streaming styles. I mean, people like draw streams. Some people just like chit chat streams. Self plug here. I stream with Hot Dog, Full Custom Hot Dog, and Yucky Gum on Sundays, called the Ice Cream Sunday Social. And we just talk about random stuff, and we are the weirdest show ever. But we have people stumbling in every week that we've never heard of.
Yeah. So I am a comic book creator, but my regular show that I do Wednesdays at 1 p.m., Doc's Coffee Shop, is not a comic book show. I structured it to be more like a morning drive time radio talk show.
Yeah.
We'll talk about whatever. Typically, pop culture and social issues. Try to stay out of government stuff because.
Yeah, I mean, I think anytime you cross the political boundary, I know, and the movement is based in politics. I know, I understand that, but generally, you don't want to jade people to your stuff by tribalism, I guess. You know what I say? Because not everybody's going to agree with you 100%. So there's no point in having those spicy takes unless you're okay with what comes from them.
Right.
But I think with the morning shows, like, I love morning shows because I'm working in the morning.
Yes.
And I can't chat all the time. I can't get involved, but it's like driving to work, listening to the radio. Exactly. I would much rather listen to you guys than I would rather listen to, NPR or whatever.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. Be entertaining, provide a little education, a little humor, a little information, a little opinion, a little discussion, be you. And if again, a lot of it is just like repetition. Like the more you do it, the easier it gets to talk, especially like if you're on a stream by yourself talking. I know it's weird. And we do see an over reliance on people who read chats, as content, which is I guess people who aren't used to talking alone have that reliance on it. But if you can get to a point where you can have a conversation with nobody, right,
and make it interesting, I mean, the sky's the limit. It really is.
I suppose you could say that my work experience blessed me with the ability to drone on endlessly, because doing psychoeducational groups for 2 hours at a pop is basically 4 times a week standing up in front of an audience and talking for 2 hours.
When I first when I first started streaming, it felt very weird to me because I'm on camera.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, I make him get on camera. I don't let him hide behind the mic.
Well, I don't mean like on camera. I mean like this.
Right.
Like you see my hands, but even though you don't see my face, you're still seeing what I'm doing, and it felt weird. It felt weird over time.
Right.
But as time goes on, I end up getting more comfortable with it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, you guys have to remember that it is the internet, and there are trolls. I mean, I myself have been classified as a troll, even though I'm a perfect human being.
You're a horrible troll, Dave. Horrible.
I know. People like me, so I'm a terrible troll. But I mean, the more you do it, you understand. Like, you're going to have people who take shots at you, which is fine.
Sure.
Most of the time, they're just here to get a reaction. And if you have learned to roll with the punches, you can monetize that sort of stuff and make it interesting.
You cannot be thin-skinned and do this.
Yeah, you have to be able to roll with the punches. That's really all it is. And Steven, you've done a bang up good job on being consistent, streaming all the time. I've seen you on camera many times. You always bring conversation. You're always drawing. I'm very appreciative of anybody who does that kind of stuff. So keep it up. Like I said, it only gets easier the more you do it. I hate streaming. I personally don't like it. I don't like doing it. But people like me on panels for reasons. I don't know.
Gabe, what is the which channel is the Ice Cream Social on?
It is on Full Custom Hot Dogs channel. It's technically his show, but all three of us are co-hosts. Yeah, it's every Sunday. It's at 8:30 Central, 9:30 Eastern. It's I mean, I would say it's not safe for work. We do get kind of rowdy in there, but we talk anything from memes to movies to televisions to internet weirdos. Right. But the idea is we try to entertain you guys. We do bits. We have fun with it. We have a phone number that people can call in, and you guys can leave us messages, and we'll reply and respond to them. A lot of them are done in a character that's been done before, or some of them are jokes or levied at us or whatever. We're strong-willed people. You guys can make fun of us. It's not going to bother us. So please tune in and just have some fun. It's only an hour show. We don't hold your attention. We don't want to keep you occupied for way too long. We respect your time, but for that hour, we hope to entertain you guys. So every Sunday.
I was subscribed, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was wondering, why am I not getting notifications? Because I thought you guys weren't streaming. Well, I got unsubscribed. So I resubscribed. I don't know why YouTube does that.
I don't know either. Like it's happened to me a few times. Like for whatever reason, it likes to unsub me from Dillard, and I don't know if that's like if it's done on purpose or if it's the universe telling me something. But I swear I've resubbed to Dillard 10 times maybe.
Yeah, this is my second time for Full Custom, but I think it was Rex's channel. For some reason, I just kept getting unsubscribed. And Rex and I are buddies. I go on stream with him frequently. Yeah. Like, what the hell, man?
Yeah, no, it's like I said, it's weird Twitter bugs. I mean, I gotten used to like people streaming at the same time. Like when Rex is no longer when Rex is not doing his morning stream, like I'm confused. Like I don't know what's going on. I'm like, did I get unsubbed? Like, is Rex okay? Is he alive? I was so used to that morning stream, and now it's gone. And now I'm like, all right, now I need something else in my morning. So stuff like this is great.
There's a
Apex says that sometimes I'm sometimes subbed to channels I'm not aware of.
So like an accidental subscription. I've done that to like weird stuff. Like if I'm like randomly YouTubing, like I don't know whatever I'm doing, like I want to spackle my wall or whatever, you know,
fall down a rabbit hole.
Yeah. And then like I find out like I accidentally subbed to the guy, and I'm like, I mean, I only needed you for that, 10 minutes to do my bathroom, but okay.
Yeah. There's a phenomenon that I was made aware of early on, and it's this: you don't deliberately stream over your friends, but if you sit around waiting for a vacant time slot, you'll never stream. There's always somebody on.
Yeah.
So I think it was a Lazmat that said this to me. He said, it's the on-ramp to a major interstate. You just floor it and jump in.
Close your eyes and just go full speed.
Yeah,
just get in there.
For it. You just got to get in there. Hey, Manicord, good morning.
Yeah, I would not worry about streaming over people. A lot of people have inconsistent schedules, or they just stream when they want to, and at that point, you can't really schedule anything.
Exactly.
Like I know, like some time slots, like I do watch the 4 o'clock Shadow. I'm usually in there trolling Eric and Boyd. That's kind of just what I do. And
yes.
And but like for me, I know like, hey, I know when Rex is streaming, which I think is very beneficial to a lot of people. Getting on a consistent schedule. I mean, just get regulars is one thing, but just to have a way for people to reach you like on a consistent manner is it's just so powerful.
And if you try to wait for a time that Vic King is not streaming, you'll never stream.
Oh, I mean, Vic's a whole nother thing. He usually streams like I wake up early. I mean, a lot of us are morning people.
Yes.
So I'm usually in bed by 10:30 at night at the latest. And if you start after that, like I can't. Like I can watch you in the morning on a replay, but it's kind of not the same, right? And that's if the videos are still up.
I don't normally watch replays. Like if there's a good clickbait title, I'll watch it. Dillard streamed last night, right? I didn't watch it, but I watched it this morning because CG has cancer. I'm like, this is about. So I watched it because it was only an hour and something.
Yeah, and that's another thing, Steven. I'm gonna yell at you here. Title your streams something interesting. I understand morning draw time. You're literally drawing in the morning. I understand that. Maybe start numbering them. Maybe if you do have something to talk about, maybe you're drawing something specific. You said you were working on that property with that. Was it Athena?
With Billy Powermax.
Yeah. Like add that to your title. Like the random titles where it's like Thursday. Like it's hard for people to be like, let me just randomly click on this video to watch this live stream about whatever they could be talking. But if you put something like, hey, we're going to be talking about, I don't know, Kanye West, or they're going to be talking about the mail-in tweet or whatever. I mean, more people are going to be inclined to click on that. So do your due diligence. I mean, even from an SEO perspective, like if you want to grow your YouTube channel, you have to make sure your stream titles, your descriptions make sense.
Now, this week on Doc's Coffee Shop, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here on YouTube.
There you go.
Going to be trying to have a guy I know who is the bass player for a super successful world-traveling rockabilly band called Hot Rod Walt and the Psycho DeVilles.
Keep that in your title.
Why am I having that?
Vic is funny, talented, and sensitive.
All true statements.
I'm having him on because 1, he's a friend. 2, I taught him to play bass decades ago. And 3, he's successful and funny.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be about comic books all the time.
No. I mean, I think there is some state where people are like, if you have a niche, like your channel should be only about that niche, and then if you're going to talk about other things, you should have sub channels or something. I know that is a thing, but I think that's usually only for like very big YouTubers where it's like, oh, we do video games, but now we want to talk about, I don't know, whatever, stage plays.
Yeah. But my thought is he's an indie creator too.
Yeah.
There are parallels. Between music and visual art.
Exactly. And like I said, and if you have them on, when you create your stream, you have a good title, you have a good description. I mean, make sure you put his name in there and make sure you put his band in there. If you guys are going in there for just a conversation about whatever what it takes to be successful in the creative art or whatever, and I mean that kind of stuff needs to get in there. That's how you grow, and you're getting outside your comfort zone. Well, not say comfort zone, but you're getting outside your niche, and it's good, right? You're literally expanding your horizons, so that's good.
Yeah.
Hey, Manticore, I saw you in chat.
So I need to get more creative with the titles on this channel here.
Well, be specific. Be specific. Yeah. What are you doing today? What are we going to watch you draw? And by the way, here's some things that Marvel Comics and DC Comics learned back in the 50s. All capital letters in your title, and then capitalize the first letter of every word in the description. For some reason, it works visually in advertising.
Yeah. And we live in a clickbait world. We just sort of do. So, if you guys are talking something that could potentially be heated, you leverage that fact.
Yes.
You know, if you do have a hot take on the mail-in tweet, for instance, you put your hot take. I disagree with John Malin. John Malin is bad, is wrong. All these kind of clickbaity kind of titles. I mean, you can leverage them to your advantage. And I think it's true when they say any news is good news, which is bad, but it's true. So just keep, like I said, it's a grind. It literally is a grind. You guys stream every day or almost every day. And, you know, you have to keep people coming.
Now, this is an interesting thing, too, to think about. There are some people that are YouTubers, okay? That is their goal. They want to grow their YouTube channel. They want to get monetized. They want to, you know, draw an income from it. Nothing wrong with that.
No, yeah.
But then I'm not that guy. I'm a comic book creator who happens to have a YouTube channel because you have to. If you're going to be in indie comics, you got to.
Well, I mean, especially in this, like, I guess people sort of forget that there's indie comics, and then there's what I would call the internet indie comics. If you were throwing your hat into the ring on the like the CG side, the indie YouTube comic community, I mean, there are expectations that you have to stream. There are expectations that you do have to entertain. I know that's a hard one for a lot of people, right. But you are here to entertain people.
Yeah.
And your comics become, as a side effect, your comics become essentially merchandise for yourself.
Right. Exactly.
And there's nothing wrong with that. Now, indie comics, I mean, when you picture indie comics back in the day, I know I'm not talking about the standouts, but a normal indie comic, I mean, what do you think of a guy who drew a comic, released it, and it sold 5 issues? I mean, that's what most people are thinking about.
Yeah, I worked in the indies back in the 90s. Trust me. I know.
Yeah, so this is a whole different niche. So I mean, entertainment is just built into it. I mean, Grabanor, all those sayings, build your channels. I mean, these are just the foundations of this community. So you guys keep it up. I mean, this is what we're doing. Find ways to make things interesting, fun, and, you know, like I said, you'll grow. And it is, you know, you do have to, like, you know, brush some elbows. You know, you have to kind of like move over to other channels and cross collaborate and all that kind of stuff.
Yep. But like you said, when you first began your discussion, you got to get outside that normal circle too. You have to always be looking for opportunities to expand.
Exactly. And stop fighting each other. Holy cow.
Yeah, I don't know if you've noticed. But the doctor does not do drama.
You guys don't. But oh my God, guys, stop fighting with each other. Like I understand. Listen, in a world of internet personalities and people who are looking for attention and all this other stuff, like I said, like trolls are trolls. Trolls are gonna say dumb things. They're here for a reaction. I'm not talking about those guys. I'm talking about creators who have issues with other creators. It doesn't help you. It doesn't help. I mean, you'll get the drama bucks. You know, you'll get the eyes, the views momentarily, but that's a short-term gain for what you should view as a long-term goal. And
that's very true.
Drama in the drama, while fun, like if you guys are doing like kayfabe drama, that's fine. I'm talking about people who have real issues with each other, cope streams as they call them, that kind of stuff. None of this is beneficial to you guys. Concentrate on your craft. Concentrate on entertaining your core fans, and, you know, keep moving forward.
Not only do I think it's counterproductive, I have no interest in it. I'm a grown ass man. Hell, I'm retired.
I mean, like, I agree.
Any interest in wasting my very valuable time or energy, both of which I have less and less of with each passing day, on fighting with somebody.
Yeah, and I'm not talking like if you guys have a disagreement with somebody and you guys nail it out on stream or whatever. That's fine. All right, no problem. That's fine. If you're doing it for weeks upon weeks, guys, that is not productive at all.
No, it's not. It's not.
So, like I said, like I'm not saying stay in your lane, but remember
Dave,
what your goal is.
I didn't even know what kayfabe was. I had to have somebody explain it to me. My son is a professional wrestler. He had to explain kayfabe to me.
Yeah, there's a big pro wrestling fandom inside the CG, so you'll hear pro wrestling terms a lot here. Kayfabe, fake fighting, basically.
Yeah, you fake beef.
Yeah. But like guys, keep your eye on the prize, and everything you do should be about, at least professionally, should be about providing entertainment, releasing books, getting better.
What makes good entertainment, Gabe?
The ability to capture an audience and keep them longer than, a couple minutes.
Okay, but what does that? What do you think are the go-tos, the staples in today's YouTube podcasting community?
At least for me, the entertainment factor comes from, am I able to either relate with somebody? Do I find something that their anecdote or whatever interesting, or are there goals or the things that they do to accomplish those goals are interesting? Like I am appreciative of artists. I like comic books. I love comic books. So my interests are comic books. So when I see guys that are on YouTube streaming about comic books, I tune in. That's just what I do. So if you can do that, again, that is what I like to watch.
Right.
Not everybody does that, right? Question is, what kind of crowd do you want to bring into your community, your fandom? Everybody wants their own fans. If you're a creator, you want your own fans.
Right.
Do you want the fans that are interested about you and your work, or about infighting, drama farmers?
You can be a drama farmer and you can be successful at it.
Yes.
If that's what you want to do.
Yeah, but never get it to a point where it seems sad. I guess that's my point.
Exactly. Yeah. When it becomes, when the wound gets infected, it's time to stop.
Exactly. Like I said, remember the goal, guys. That's all I say. Remember the goal. Strive towards it.
And there's 3 questions you always need to be asking yourself. Always. This applies to every business out there. What works? What doesn't? And what do I need to change?
Yeah. I mean, that's in the, I guess, corporate world, we call that being agile.
The growth. It's hard science at this point. You do something. Is it successful? Good. Expand on it. Then evaluate it. Why am I not growing anymore? That's when you innovate. You cut out what's not working. You add something that you think will work. And then you implement it and you see if it grows, and you repeat. Rinse and repeat.
And there's foundational structure to every creator. If you're a comic book creator, I think there's a built-in foundation or expectation that you need to make comics.
Sure.
I understand. Comics take a while. They're a very time-intensive task for everybody involved. Especially if you're your own writer / artist.
Yes.
And letter. If you do everything, it is going to take you longer than somebody who has a team. That's understandable. But there's a built-in understanding that, as a comic book creator, you should be making comic books.
Yes.
Keep and continuing doing it. So, of course, obviously, I'm not talking about anybody here because you guys do stuff. So, but just keep that in mind, guys.
And let me throw this in there. Deliver what you promise. I'm not talking about don't be late. Shit happens. People get late. I get it. But deliver. If you say, I will do X by this time unless something comes up, then you deliver what you promise.
Yeah. It's a respect thing. Again, respecting the customer, is a very common saying around here.
Yes.
Lateness happens. I hate to tell everybody. I know people are like, late books. Lateness is just a fact of life a lot of times.
Yes.
It happens on literally every level, from indie comics to mainstream to corporate world, technology.
Operating room schedules.
Exactly. It just happens.
Wait in the ER. Shit happens.
But I will say this. the one thing I do dislike seeing is the lack of transparency on what is done and then what still is left to do.
That's the
Apex says it takes a long time for little old me to get my comics out. One man studio.
Yeah.
Well, I know what you're talking about, because for me, I'm writing, drawing, and coloring and inking, and I'm doing everything. I'm doing everything.
one man show
for my stuff.
I need to fill up my coffee. I'll be right back, Steven.
All right, and it's a time-consuming task.
Yeah, and definitely, and I know, like I said, and some people have other jobs. I mean, they have other other priorities as well. I mean, family. I mean, people I guess kind of forget that a lot of us have families. You have to spend time with. You have to make money.
Unfortunately, we're not machines.
Do what?
So unfortunately, we're not machines.
Not machines. Like I said, but like consistency. I mean, consistency is so important.
Lion writes in the chat, and he says you should hire some people, Steve. I
guess it depends on what kind of like if you can identify where you're spending your time and where you think it's a waste. Like, hey, I'm really bad at lettering, right? I spend triple the amount of time I think it would be to letter. Maybe I should hire or find someone to letter for me. Maybe that's a thing, right?
Yeah.
But I guess it just depends. Like I mean, that costs money, right? If you want to hire a letterer, I mean, obviously that's going to take money. And it's cheaper to do it yourself.
And sometimes money is something that you don't have right now, and you have to do it yourself.
Wait, broke creatives? That's a thing? I've never heard of that before in my life.
But yeah, take Last Days of the Bad Moon. Billy, he hired another artist before me, and unfortunately he already paid that guy, but the guy never came through with the pages.
Never pay full amount up front when you hire a company.
So he saw my work, and he really enjoyed it, and he asked me if I could draw his book for him. At first I was thinking, well, I'm already working on 2 books. I'm not sure if I can take on a third. And then I thought, well, what if I just put one on the back burner for right now, and help him out, and that's what I did. So I'm working on his book, and I told him not to pay me until the job is done.
Yeah, I mean, as it comes to like paying creatives, I mean, I think even EVS has said, pay when it's done.
Yeah.
I know, and again, I was making the joke about creatives not being broke, but I mean, most of the creatives, are struggling artists. Struggling artists is a thing for a reason, guys. Sometimes you do need to grease the palm to keep the cog spinning, right?
Yeah.
But I think there has to be inherent trust, especially like if you're a writer looking for an artist. I think there has to be an inherent trust there.
Well, there has to be a trust when you have multiple people working on one project.
Listen, you got to remember this too. There's some hard and fast rules here. If you hire somebody to do your art or to write for you, you never pay the full amount up front. Likewise, you don't ask somebody to work for you for free with the promise of payment. You basically pay a deposit toward the work.
Yeah.
And then my policy is if you hire me to do work, you're going to pay me half up front because I got to buy supplies. I got to set aside my own livelihood to do your work. So you're going to pay me half up front. but you don't owe me the other half until you're happy with what I deliver.
100%.
And I deliver, boys and girls.
There you go.
And
No
Lion-
sexual connotations of that
Yeah.
whatsoever.
Lion Rice says, I thought Stephen B was rich. No, I'm not rich. Well, I'm probably rich for creativity, but
Wait. I thought your nickname was Steven Trust Fund Kid B. No?
Guess what Stephen B's got going for him? One, he's the hardest working dude in comics. Two,
There-
the dude is amazing at storytelling. His page layouts are some of the best I have ever seen anywhere.
I agree with that.
and
He's young and good looking. Okay.
I'm rich with creativity.
He's which gives him a leg up on me. I'm old and ugly. So, you know, he's got a lifetime to just keep getting better and better and better.
Yeah, I mean, there's I don't know if you guys know the term, but or the phrase, successive refinement, right?
Mhm.
So as you guys are completing and doing stuff, you'll get better over time, right? So no one starts off as perfect.
No,
We're always striving to achieve perfection, but guess what, guys? It never comes. But it's not about the end game for that. It's about the journey to getting there. So
process.
successive refinement, you'll get better as time goes on, and that will bring you fans.
It is a process, not perfection.
Yep, exactly.
Now, having said that, when it comes to painting landscapes, I am damn near perfect.
There you go. I mean,
So let's not forget that.
but to be fair, you've been doing it for how long now?
Exactly.
I'm sure you when you first started off, some of those are probably pretty rough.
Buddy, I got a pile over here beside my desk called "They Can't All Be Winners."
Yeah, exactly. So like
once a year, there's a bonfire, Gabe.
There you go. I mean, like I said, listen, worst case scenario, at least you can heat your house up for the day.
That's right. Roast some hot dogs over failed art.
Exactly.
Yeah. When I started, actually, when I first started, I didn't think I was going to get into writing. I just thought I was just going to get into drawing comics. But but later on, I started making portfolios and start writing my own stuff. And when the first campaign went up for Crystal Legends, I was actually surprised and really grateful that everyone bought the first book.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because I'm not sure if it was the art or the storytelling, or both.
That might be a good thing to ask your customers. Like send out a survey or a poll, being like, "Hey, thanks for backing the campaign. I'm just curious. I mean, what, especially when the second one, like what is the reason it made you come back? What was it? Was it story? Was it art? Was it you just like me? Like what is the reason there?"
Yeah.
I think it's okay to survey your customers as well as your potential customers on what they want to see. I mean, this is an industry based off giving people something they want to read. So what do you want to read?
Right.
So I always stress that, tell us what you want to see.
And also I lost my train of thought.
No, but the other thing I wanted to mention here is I know there's two different thoughts when it says, okay, well you're a hot dog salesman. I don't know if you guys remember hearing about that. It used to be a CG phrase a while back ago, but you're a hot dog salesman. You're selling hot dogs. That's what people want. Versus the creatives who are drawing the comic that they want to do, and it might not be marketable. It might not bring any money. I think we probably should say that there is a differentiation between the two. If you're just doing it for the love because this is a story you want to tell and you understand that it doesn't really fit a genre very well. It's a very very personal to myself, and I can't really sell this, but I'll make it available if it need be. Different expectations versus, hey, I have a book about, the army or werewolves or Western. There's built-in audiences for those. So I think there are some expectations. If you are a hot dog salesman, that you should be giving the customer the hot dog they want to eat.
Right.
I mean, you got to make some damn hot dogs if you're a hot dog salesman. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah, definitely.
Holy cow! I just made a discovery.
Oh, what's that?
So I have a friend on Facebook. Not going to say a name, but she's a independent creator. Reached out, made the friend request. I guess because we kind of have peripheral community overlap.
Yep.
Yeah, I just found out she was in Playboy.
Playboy, as in the naked.
Yes. The.
I mean, she didn't do a column or something. She
was a I don't know if she was a centerfold, but she was in there.
Well, so, I guess the question is, does she bring it up?
Well, I'm old. Come on.
I was just thumbing. You just messaged her. I was thumbing through my old Playboys, and I stumbled across somebody who looks a lot like you for some reason. Just curious. Did you ever pose nude before?
It's one of those things that you suddenly go, well, yeah, she's attractive. I never thought of her that way. Then, bam, there it is, full frontal. What the hell? Ah!
You're like, man, clothes hide some of the nicest things. I would have expected.
Who'd have thunk it?
Yeah.
And of course, I will never say a word about it because I don't know how she feels about that kind of shit.
Apex says, sell those hot dogs. Me and Apex have been making a story up in chat for the last couple days. Tentacle Girl.
Well, you have one going for Eric also.
Well, no, I'm trying to sell him on Mr. Muck, different story ideas from Mr. Muck. The only issue is he doesn't like any of my pitches. Hey, Ice Queen. He doesn't like any of my pitches, and I thought, maybe I should. It probably has something to do with the fact that the last thing I pitched him was essentially Mr. Muck opens up his own Jurassic Park kind of park, and it's just filled with a bunch of miniature Mr. Muck. So I'm thinking maybe I quite don't know what genre Mr. Muck is in.
You're not there yet, Gabe.
But you know what? I'm gonna keep trying every single day. I pitched a new thing every single day. Eventually, Doc, one of those are going to hit.
I have been watching those with great interest, sir. Waiting for the one.
I know he messed. He was usually done in Rex's chat, by the way. But
yes.
He was like, "What? You have no Mr. Muck story for me today?" I said, "No. Now you're expecting it, and now you're wanting it. I can't provide. I can't provide it."
It's always interesting to me to watch that interaction. I tune in just for that game. Just saying.
I think at first I like Eric. At first, I think he thought I was serious when I was pitching some of these story ideas, because some of these story ideas are probably the dumbest thing I think I've ever seen or heard or said in my life. But I think finally he caught on that they're all joke pitches. And now he likes them, and I'm like, well, now's the perfect time to cut them off.
Yes. Well, now I'll say this too. I have mad respect for Eric Boyd's Silver Age approach.
Yes,
mad respect for it.
I'd say Golden Age, wouldn't it? Isn't he in Golden Age comics?
Maybe. Certainly on that cusp there. So mad respect, Eric, if you're watching.
Yeah, he has a book, or he has an 8-page story in one of the Golden comics on Indie Planet. It's like an anthology of various characters done in that style. It's either Golden or Silver Age. I forget exactly. I did back it. I did read it. It was good. So I was like, hey, I was pushing him, be like, hey, you should do Mr. Muck 2. And then the idea was, it all started off. I said, Mr. Muck goes to Washington. And I guess he thought that was kind of interesting, so he always kept bringing it up. So then I was like, you know what, this is the perfect time to just start pitching literally everything towards him. I pitched him Mr. Muck versus Chud, the cannibalistic humanoid underground dwellers. Tentacle Girl started off as a joke pitch as well. So, but they could be interesting. There's always a little bit of interesting stuff in every joke pitch, I think.
Apex Comics says joke pitches can be a reality.
Yeah, like I said, there's always, like I said, any story, like if it's a structured correctly, I mean, this is just a framework for a story, a way to deliver a story. I mean, you can mix around the joke part of it to make it more serious, obviously. Yeah, Mr. Muck goes to Washington. He said maybe soon, so I'm gonna hold my breath until he does it.
Mr. Muck wearing a suit, sitting on a congressional inquiry panel.
Yeah,
it sells itself.
I think I pitched him a Mr. Muck Alex Jones style, where Mr. Muck starts his own radio show of controversial topics. I don't think he liked that one very much, but you know what? That's why we keep pitching. We always pitch. We never give up. Never give up. Eventually. Now I'm watching my own background here with Rambo, a Rambo cartoon. Now I'm thinking maybe I can pitch a Mr. Muck goes to Vietnam.
That's the most distracting shit I've ever seen in my life, Gabe.
I know.
Endlessly.
I don't want people to look at my nose. So they can look at my cartoon. I have another one, but it's Toku, and I don't think many people like Toku. So
I don't even know what that is.
Tokukatsu. It's a Japanese kid special effects shows, okay. like Power Rangers, but Super Sentai and all. Either way, everybody loves Rambo.
I had a great deal of respect for what I later came to understand as anime when I was young. I watched Battle of the Planets, G-Force. I watched Star Warriors or whatever it was called, the Yamato, whatever.
Battleship Yamamoto.
Yeah. And it was like, God dang, man, how can this be so good and bad at the same time?
Yeah, it's that fine line, right?
Yeah, these amazing special effects. And you always wanted to see the Phoenix become the fiery Phoenix. But then the animation, there's just the lips moving on a frozen image. It's like, there's all this and then there's this. I never was able to reconcile it in my brain, so I just stuck with Looney Tunes and Merry Melodies.
That's fair.
It makes sense to me.
I grew up with like Toonami, which played a lot of Dragon Ball, a lot of Sailor Moon. Like I grew up on that, so I grew up. Also, Suncoast movie. You guys remember the store called Suncoast Movies? They sold movies, and they had a big section for OVAs and anime back in the day. So we would see all this weird cartoons that I'm like, that's not on my TV. So I grew up on this kind of stuff, and like especially now, like I will say this: the last couple of things I've read, comic book wise, has been manga, and I think manga's winning right now, gentlemen. I just read the entire run, or at least I'm caught up currently with Chainsaw Man.
Yeah, manga is winning right now, but I will say this: manga is winning because mainstream comics, i.e., Marvel and DC, left the field. They just left. They abandoned it for their social agenda. That is not to take away from manga, in that they're not afraid of the long game, the long, consistent story, the huge spectrum of genres that they appeal to.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's interesting because I always go, what are they doing that mainstream comics aren't doing right now? I think long form storytelling is one of them.
Yep.
I also think, like when I know this sounds bad, but like they have a house style, and every chapter looks the same. From everything from the manga to the anime to the live adaptation, like they all. There's a style that's consistent throughout.
I have a couple of books that are manga.
Oh, tell us which ones.
I'll show you.
Oh,
And I got these from Megacon. One is
We thought
Attack on Titan.
Attack on Titan's great. Yep, they also have an anime. I highly recommend it for those who are.
And My Hero Academia.
Yeah, so My Hero Academia is probably the superhero book that DC and Marvel probably need to strive more towards.
So which one am I going to open? Am I going to open up first to show on the camera?
is that Ultraman?
You know,
I mean, we like superheroes, so I would go My Hero Academia.
So to go off of what you're saying, yeah, there are some manga that are a lot similar to others.
Mm-hmm.
But you always find a the significant difference between them.
Yeah.
And right now the difference with manga and American comics, not counting us as CG independents, is that they're more story more focused on story, not just on the art. And that really shows.
Yeah, it's a different kind of storytelling because like traditional, because there is a difference between our type of storytelling and Eastern storytelling, and maybe it's just a new kind of storytelling that the people of the West are like, hey, this looks pretty awesome. You know, this is different. I think at this point, a lot of people are looking for things that are different. Now, like for those who don't know, My Hero Academia essentially is. It's a modern day superhero tale, except people have special powers and they're much more commonplace. But you could have different kind of powers. You could have stupid powers, and you can have really awesome powers. That's sort of the stage that book entails. Now, Stephen, can you show Attack on Titan?
Yeah.
And this is another thing I think manga does extremely well.
So,
is their concepts of their stories are more interesting than anything else. So Attack on Titan is essentially there's a settlement that has a bunch of giant walls around them, and outside there are monsters, and these monsters are huge human monsters. They're like, I don't forget how tall they are, 100 feet tall or whatever, just giant humans.
All right, so I can't really tell because over Japan they go by I think they go by more centimeters than inches or feet.
Yeah, well, 100 feet's huge. Let's just say that. There's different size ones. So at first there's just like little ones where they're like, I don't know, 12 feet or so, and then like they progressively get bigger, and then you have these almost kaiju like humans, and they look human but not quite human. Like they have that uncanny valley approach to them or look to them, and but I guess my whole point of this is. It's an interesting concept because I don't think we would see something like that over here. I mean, here we have, hey, there's a superhero, his parents got murdered, now he fights crime. You know, like that. I mean, that's your stereotypical story here. Over there, like for instance, Chainsaw Man is about a guy who makes a deal with a little pet dog that has a chainsaw for a face. We find out he's a devil. And they make a deal together. They die, and then he has a zip cord on his chest he can pull, and then all of a sudden all his limbs just burst out with chainsaws. You know, like that's a interesting approach to something that's essentially a superhero story.
Plus, his head turns into a like a full on chainsaw.
Yeah, like a concept, guys. Like your concept has to be interesting. It has to be creative. Yeah, Lion Rain got right. More creativity, and I think right now manga is demolishing it. I personally don't give a fuck about Miss Marvel.
Right.
Spider-Man's cool. Don't get me wrong. I like Spider-Man. I've always liked Spider-Man, but Spider-Man is still doing the same thing he normally does.
Yeah, and not only that, but I don't want to watch the characters that I grew up with in Marvel, in particular, a little bit of DC. I don't care to watch the bastardization and ruination of them. So I don't read them. I don't want to know what the horrible thing they're doing to Thor or Captain America or Iron Man. I don't want to know.
Yeah, and I'm gonna say this, like, I know bashing mainstream is very commonplace here, but there are a lot of good mainstream books, and there are still a lot of good writers, even though some people have, do take issue with them. I still think Donny Cates is one of the better ones. I know that's probably going to get me canceled from this group, but Donny Cates is probably one of the better ones. Ram V is also pretty good.
See, I don't know them.
Yeah, but there are good mainstream comics. It's just no one really reads them around here.
Because
because
they poison the well.
Yeah, there's more bad stuff than there is good stuff.
Right.
But it does exist. So to say it doesn't exist, I think is wrong. Just 100%.
Yeah, but let's be real. Again, it doesn't take a whole lot of cyanide in the well to poison the whole well.
True.
And for me, I grew up with, and let's remember this is 60s, 70s. I grew up with Cap and Thor and Iron Man, the Avengers, and Spider-Man, and Doctor Doom and the Fantastic Four. When you take those toys and you break them, don't hand them back to me and expect me to get any joy out of them.
100%. I agree.
So I bailed, and I much prefer the indie projects that I'm seeing from everyone.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I think the big thing for everybody is strive to be creative. Make sure your concepts and ideas are unique, or at least interesting enough to make people want to look at it. Like, for instance, here's one I always tell people about, and it's sort of kind of a joke that I say a lot. There's a manga called Prison School, and it's about a bunch of boys who get in trouble for seeing or going into the locker room of a girls' club or girls' school, and they essentially get put in a prison inside school. And you're like, wait a minute, prisons aren't in schools. Yes, that's the point. It's a unique look at something that's probably not plausible in real life. Now, this is a sex comedy, by the way, so I wouldn't recommend going and looking it up, but it's a unique concept, and is a reason why it gained a little bit of popularity here, and then it got an anime, which got a dub. It's a unique, interesting concept.
Agreed. On that note, I got to bail, Stephen. I got a lot I got to get done, and
that's
I appreciate you having me on, though.
Yeah, thanks, Doc.
Gabe, always a pleasure to see you. Chat, you guys always rock. So peace out, everybody.
Appreciate you.
Later, Doc. So, so Lion Rat says those characters are what they are, and they keep what's that word?
Regurgitating. Okay, those characters are what they are, and they keep regurgitating them into different genders and races, but it's the same stories and concepts that have already been told. 100%. Like I said, they're the type of storytelling that they're doing here in the West is hero's journey. It's the same stuff you guys have been seeing for the last 50 years, and there's no unique spin on them. There's nothing interesting being done. The only unique spin right now is who's gay, who's a female now. They never turn female characters male, do they? They probably have before. It's not very common.
No, they haven't, but they have made quite a few female characters bi.
Yeah, it's very common, right? But like for me, so in my mind, I don't really care about race swaps. I don't really care too much about those. It's that's the hook that they're trying to use to get people to watch something or to read something. But everything else other than that is it's the same thing. It's garbage. It's boring. And I think that has more to do with it. Like, we're generally okay with race swaps, like Samuel L. Jackson, Nick Fury. Like, nobody really had issues with that, right? So I don't think it's the race swaps behind it. It's the betrayal, it's the story, it's the uniqueness, it's creativity. All of that is lacking And until they come up with creatives who respect characters or respect storytelling, who give fans something that they expect but don't expect. I know this is a weird statement, but like give modern day comic book readers something that they want to read. It's okay to give some sort of unique idea or unique concept behind it. Like, for instance, Donny Cates did an Incredible Hulk run, and it basically, even though it was kind of dumb, it was a unique take on it where Bruce Banner is piloting the Hulk almost like a mech suit, like from inside him. That was sort of the spin on it. And you're like, well, that's kind of a dumb thing. It is, but it's unique enough to where it's sold, right? Yeah. And that's really all that matters. Like, people were interested. Wait a minute, Bruce Banner is piloting the Hulk like a mech suit, like from inside him. Like, that's a weird thing.
That is a weird thing. And Lion Rat says it's not the actual characters that are stale; it's the core concept that is stale. And
yeah, I agree.
And then he says it's like a different coat of paint on an old
jalopy car. Yeah,
old jalopy car. Well, we have like how many Spider-Man characters now? And yeah, and they've done like a whole series called the I'm thinking Spider-Verse, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, Spider-Verse, Into the Spider-Verse, all that kind of stuff. Spider-Geddon is another one.
But the thing is, we all know who our Spider-Man is, who our character is, and the majority of the ones that we're seeing, they're just a bunch of copies.
This is a little interesting. I don't know, Stephen, what your take on this is that you know the movie Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse with Miles Morales came out a couple years ago, and they're making a sequel now. Beforehand, no one really gave a crap about Miles Morales, like in comic book form. I mean, he for the most part, he was a whatever kind of Spider-Man until the movie came out. When the movie came out, I guess people kind of like went back and were like, "Oh yeah, Miles Morales is great," but it was purely from the movie perspective that they're approaching the character now. So my question is, why isn't there better? I don't know, what's the term? Like synergy. Why isn't there synergy more between comics, movies, TVs? Because like, I mean, that movie made Miles Morales more interesting, made it more, I don't know, in the know, in the mainstream conscious. Before he was nothing.
I'm sorry. That's a word. I'm not too familiar with. Can you define synergy, please?
So synergy is when two different things work together to accomplish a common goal.
Okay. So, I don't know how if I can explain this better. When Miles first came into the comics, it was after Peter Parker died.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with the movie, but in the movie, I guess I can say that Miles was treated more as a student to another Spider-Man, while the one in the comics, he kind of started out on his own. He didn't really have no one other than Nick Fury, who stumbled upon him and said, "You don't know what you're doing, kid."
Yep. Lion Ratton makes a good point, because kids don't read comics, but they watch the cartoons. I think that's the big issue. No one gives a fuck about comics.
Well, so when I started comics, my first comic was a Spider-Man comic, and I don't ask what year the comic was. or what number it was because I don't remember. All I know is that at the end of at the end of the book, it had Sandman and juggling a couple of oranges.
Yeah.
But that maybe got me into comics. But what really got me into the comics was the TV shows, and the TV shows like the Spider-Man anime series and the Batman anime series.
Perfect TV shows.
Those really, those so. And I hate to say this because I really love comics, but when when my brother gave me the my first comic, that's just a small part of the memory. But with the TV shows, that's a much bigger part because it stuck with you more.
Yeah.
And when I got older, I started reading more comics because they were accessible in the school library.
Interesting. Yeah. For me, like I've read comic books for a very long time, but I always went in and out of them. Like I remember I read comic books a lot when I was like 6, 7, 8 years old, and I kind of got about them for a few years, went back into them for a few years, came back out. And it's been kind of like that forever. And I do remember, like I put Batman the Animated Series, Superman the Animated Series, Justice League, those cartoons when I was a kid. I put those in. I still hold those very highly, like in my mind. So like when I look at them, like those are my definitive Batman, my definitive Superman. But now when I go back and read, new Superman, even though Superman Lost is great, you guys should go read that. But like modern Superman, like in my mind, I'm not seeing that animated series Superman. So, and that disconnect is enough for me to be like, I'm not going to buy it.
So I think all right. So going back to the question, and I apologize for my stuttering. So going back to the question, what's the synergy between the Miles in the comics and the Miles in the in the movie? Is that like Line said, because kids don't read comics, but they do watch cartoons. At the time, no one knew that Miles Morales really existed until they went and saw the movie.
So is that more of a reason because comics are dying, or at least what we call Western comics are dying?
So I don't think Western comics are dying because I'm also putting the independent comics into that line. Marvel and DC, they're all right. So the characters are not. So the characters, they're gonna stick around for a very long time. That's what I'm thinking. But their books, because they're so focused on the whole agenda thing, they will continue to lose more and more fans.
Yeah.
And is because of what? It's because they refuse to and it's because they refuse to tell a good story.
I think Western comics, DC, Marvel comics have lost a generation of readers. They've lost a generation of readers, and they're finding it extremely hard to get them back. That generation that they lost are don't care. That generation that they lost is now reading manga. That generation is now consuming YouTube. That generation is now doing anything other than reading those comics. Now, it was funny though, is because like even reading books, I mean, even though it has trailed off a little bit, I mean, more people are reading books than comics, just as a medium itself. So DC and Marvel made the big mistake of cowtailing to collectors versus hiring good artists and good writers to tell good stories. And the fact is they've lost a generation of readers who did not grow up reading comics. So their kids aren't going to read comics. So they're essentially stagnating until something new crops up, some sort of new fad or new push towards DC and Marvel. And they were unable to do it with the MCU. The biggest marketing push ever was the fact that Marvel movies made so much flipping money that they are unable to capitalize a little bit to get readers on comics. Is probably the biggest failure I have ever seen in a corporate world. That to me is mind baffling. And I think the reason because is the Marvel movies and the Marvel comics or whatever, there's no synergy between them. They're different entities, they're different corporations, they have different books. There's no built-in a synergy there. So they failed everybody. They failed themselves, they failed their past readers, and they have failed gathering any new readers.
Well, yeah. Well, a thing that could probably fix is, well, again we have YouTube, we have television, we have all this media,
mm-hmm.
and like I said, they have these movies. Well, the movies themselves can bring back. Can probably bring back the comics, but now even the movies are falling into agenda too.
Yeah, and I think that's if something stays alive for the longest time, eventually it is a shell of its former self. Like, I agree with that. The original Iron Man first movie, there's a little bit of edge to it. Now there's nothing like that. Lion Ratton has a good comment there. It says, I think they're also struggling on how to adapt to digital. Most kids today just use tablets and aren't interested in actual books, and that's true. And I think it's because they have pushed their market to be a collector market. So obviously, you want physical for a collector market. And now, if you look overseas where manga is consumed, I mean, a lot of manga is consumed digitally on phones and tablets and stuff like that over there. Like, they have conditioned their audience to be okay reading digital. I consume most of my manga digitally now. Like, I own a few volumes of various things that I really like, but for the most part, I consume everything digitally. And the fact that it's hard to, I mean, they definitely tried to move people to a subscription format, and even our subscription formats are effing garbage. They're so bad. Like, hey, here's a sign up for DC Infinite. But by the way, you can't read new releases. They're backed. You got to wait 6 months, or I think it's 6 months or 3 months to read the newest issues. And that's just to make the comic shops complacent, or make them happy. And it's dumb, guys. It's dumb. Like, if I think they are missing out. I'm not saying everybody's going to go to digital. Some people will always buy hardbacks or buy hard copies. But we're now seeing a generation where no one's buying floppies. Either people are consuming digitally, or they've shifted to being trade or omnibus collectors. I mean, we see that a lot. The rise of the amount of sales for omnibuses and trade paperbacks are so big now compared to floppies. It's like maybe your market shifted without you realizing it, and you continually fail to adapt to that market.
Okay, so Ice Queen says making comics cost more doesn't make them worth more, and it restricts the readership. And that's true. There's actually I believe there's actually omnibus that's actually being sold for like $100 or something like that.
Yeah.
And then she says digital before hard copy. These days, if I like it, I'll buy it.
Yeah, I mean, you guys got to remember, like, comic books have always been sort of a
Comics.
you read everything. This sounds bad, but disposable form of entertainment. Like that's usually how it's always been. But the glorification of the collector market has essentially killed that, to where the common person is not going to be like, oh, here's a new Superman. Let me just read it real quick, and that's it. Like they just don't do that. Now it's collector markets. We're having floppies cost $7-8 now. That's nuts.
But yeah, I think when the main industry went into digital, they kind of went the wrong way about it.
100%. And the question is, I guess to curtail this, because I'm going to leave in a little and right after my point here. But the question is, what can they do to get these readers back? And at this point, I don't think they can. Well, not without some sort of huge movement like another MCU, which I think is already pushed way beyond its limits.
Yeah, but yeah. I'm actually going to close the string off here in a minute too, but yeah, wait. All right, so comics are always going to be around. People are always going to make comics, and I'm not just talking about the manga.
Yeah.
Right now, Marvel and DC, they're bought by two of the biggest companies in the world. Mm-hmm. So they're not going anywhere. They're not going anywhere as far as I know. And where am I going with this?
Yeah, I mean, they're so big that comics will always exist in some form or another. Their place in pop culture, I think their days are gone.
Yeah, right now the mainstream comics, yeah, they're. I don't want to say that they're going away, because they're not. They're still going to continue making them, but right now it's the age of the independent creators.
Yeah, so I strongly urge all you guys, you, Doc, Apex was here earlier, Vic King, all these creators, even the Kings, keep producing good quality comic books for comic book fans, the ones that are still left, the ones who read Western comics. Keep doing that.
And along the line, there will be more fans.
Yeah, eventually you want to build your community bigger and bigger, because people will stumble across your stuff, and maybe you can make a new fan.
Yeah,
so, like 100%.
So in conclusion, there's still fans out there, and there's still people that can be fans of comics. If you go to like any MegaCon or Comic-Con or any comic based or anime based convention, and show them a book, and I don't mean like I go up to them, show them a book, say hey, are you interested? Tell them what the story's about. Tell them what the story's like, and get them interested. And probably somewhere down the line, you probably would have had made a comic book fan out of them, and they'll want to read more.
No, that's the goal, right? That's the dream,
and that's the goal. So again, comics are not dying. The mainstream, slowly by day, no one's gonna end up reading about them, and it's not just because new readers prefer to read digital than physical, but it's also because their storytelling is getting worse by the day because they focus on agenda more than the actual storytelling.
Yeah.
So,
Billy coming in at the very last minute. We're about to wrap up. Hey, Billy.
So in conclusion, I want to thank everyone for coming into the chat to say hi, and I want to thank Gable for keeping me company on this stream, and I want to thank Doc for popping in. And wow, 2 hours and 20 minutes.
That was a long one. Thank you, Steven, for me being here. If you guys appreciated my commentary or my rambling, as I also say, you can find me on Twitter at GPennyShot. I also do a Sunday show with Full Custom Hot Dog and Yucky Gum tomorrow at 8:30 Central. Sorry, I had to plug myself there.
And Gable, if you want to come back on the stream, the next time I stream on just my channel, you are more than welcome to.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
So everyone, don't forget, check out Crimson Legends on Fund My Comic, the Second Chance campaign. The 2 books are already done. Everything that was on the previous campaigns is on this campaign. I'm still working on trying to get mugs and hats, and the poll is still on my Twitter page. So vote Snapback or FlexFit to help me make the decision. And also, and because Billy's here, I need to show this real quick. So this is Joan of Arc right now. Still working on the process, and we kind of got a little bit carried away here. So
yeah, blame me, blame Gable. Get out of here, Gable.
So everyone, keep drawing, keep having fun, hell comic skate, and until next time, I'll see you later.